Puerto Rican kid, bald head, loves snakes, loves Blizzy, Sergio Chacon.
Yeah. What up, Pa?
Peace. Welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chacon, aka Blizzy Chacon. That shit whack. I mean, it's always gonna be dirtbag shit podcast. The DBS podcast.
Yeah. Welcome to the DBS podcast. We are still locked up in quarantine. It's all good, though. The energy is flowing. I'm making good use of it. I enjoy quarantine. I enjoy the quiet streets. I enjoy tapping into my many skills that I'm not able to, put out there in the streets, you know what I'm saying? And that skill is being one of the best podcasters in the game that's underrated. That's bullshit. We all know this. No, I'll tell you what the benefits are of being in quarantine is the fact that I get to nab up some guests that I wouldn't normally get a hold of because they're so busy. That is the benefit of this quarantine. Last week, I had Giannis Pappas. That's my doggy dog, but it was hard to get him on the scene. I got a couple of nice guests lined up that normally wouldn't be able to step in the crib because they're scared of snakes and pit bulls, or they just got a lot of other shit going on. And I am proud to bring up today's guest. You've seen him on Big Time Adolescence, Last Comic Standing, Law and Order, my doggy dog from BK, New York. Give it up for my man, Joey Gay. What's cracking, dude?
Yo, what's up, Serge? It's so nice to see you, bro. You have such a native New Yorker's take on the quarantine. I like the empty streets. Right?
Yo, dog, as dirtbag as it sounds, I'm enjoying it. I'm not creating too much noise in my head, meaning I'm not listening to the news. I know what we're dealing with, but as long as my immediate friends and family are secure and I'm doing my best to keep healthy and the people around me healthy, that's all I can do. Because that news is depressing. That news will punch a hole in you and deflate you. I can't be deflated, God.
Yeah, you can't watch the news all the time. It'll make you crazy. I'm already exhausted mentally from thinking through every step, you know?
For real.
Yo, I'm afraid a loaf of bread is going to kill me. Somebody brings a loaf of bread in the house. I'm like, did you wash it down with alcohol? What the fuck has happened?
Yeah, and it'd be whack for a guy like me or you who's been through some shit in the past to die from the flu, from the Chinese flu. It would be so whack because, I've been jumped before, not one, but 6 times over. Timberland boots over my face, Timberland trees marked on my face for weeks on end, guns pulled out.
What?
That would be awful.
Right? You die from the flu. I know what you mean. I've been through a lot of crazy shit myself. It would be very anticlimactic.
Yeah, there's a guy who created his own barrel, and he went down to Niagara Falls. It was like a barrel, like a fish barrel, and he survived that shit. 3 years later, he slips, not on a banana peel, but an orange peel, and died. That's some dirtbag shit. Who dies like that?
God is the most fucked up comedian of all. That's who's the worst comedian is God. That's the type of shit. You know, the guy, literally, in the 70s, he wrote the book about jogging. He's the one who started all of America jogging, and then he died from a heart attack in the middle of a run.
Oh, fucking Christ. You know, it's just, and I hate this saying, but it's just what it is. Because we don't know what it is, man. I hate that saying. I hate when people say that. And it's very popular now. Do you say that? Are you a big, that's what it is? Are you
I'm an Attleboro idiot. That's part of, that's part of, there should be a Luke's handbook, right? Right. And you open up page 1 says you got to do what you got to do. Page 2 says it is what it is. Yes. And then page 3 says go back to page 1. Right. We have very little in the way of sayings. We got 2 big ones. We use them all the time.
Right. I don't mind the first one. It is what it is annoys me. I guess because it's so redundant these days. A lot of people use it. Remember the early go ahead.
There's all sorts of linguistic tricks we use as New Yorkers. For example,
you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You cushion it up.
There are things we say as New Yorkers, right, that are a signal that aren't the words. Like, I hear you.
Right.
You're not saying a fucking thing. All you're saying is my ears work. You're not agreeing. You're not disagreeing. You're just saying I'm able to detect what you're doing in my audio canal. That's it.
Right.
Then there's, huh? Like
every
somebody's talking to you and saying crazy shit like I'll fucking kill you. Yeah, huh? That's like you putting a period on the end of their sentence.
Right.
You
That's
know?
so funny. It's so true. And every time I've said some shit like, I hear you, it's really not registering.
It's not.
I'm not really listening.
I got another one. I always go, hey, it's hard to argue with that logic.
But I like that. That's very Joey Gay, though. That's very you, because I've heard
I'm
you
really
say that.
not saying a motherfucking thing, though. I'm just saying, you know.
What's another one? Oh, another one that was popular in early 2000, and this one fucking, you want to talk about grinding my gears, was this one. It was this one. No, it was this one. It was this one. Oh, yeah, you know, I was going to go to the store or whatnot.
Whatnot, I don't mind. I think it's all
I don't like
good.
whatnot.
It's all good. That used to drive me crazy.
Oh, I still say that.
Oh, it's all good.
Yo,
No,
I think we're
clearly
gonna
it's not.
I think we're gonna discover on this podcast that we don't like the way each other speak.
I just did Mikey D's joke without realizing it.
Oh, the Stefano?
No, yeah.
Right.
You know, it's
What
all
a
good.
fu- what a-
Clearly it's not. I didn't even realize I was doing it. God rest him.
Oh, he was the best, man. So I'm glad you brought him up because that was like. So I'm gonna paint this picture for people, right? So I came into the comedy game and like you, Mike DiStefano, Angelo Lasada, Greer Barnes, Tony Woods were the fucking, you guys are the big dogs. Like, and I'm talking about on Bleecker Street. I used to walk into the Boston Comedy Village and y'all motherfuckers were like doing it. Patrice O'Neal. Like you guys used to all play Boston Comedy Club.
Man, I used to love to watch Patrice work. I didn't like Patrice. Patrice didn't like me. Nobody says that. It's the truth about us.
Yeah,
we shook each other's hands. We had friends in common, but both of us are kind of like, what's up with this motherfucker?
Yeah. Well, you know what it is.
But Patrice O'Neal is one of the most masterful motherfuckers I ever seen work a microphone. And yeah, back in those days, you sit around, you watch Tony Woods, you watch fucking Patrice O'Neal, Rich Voss, Mike DiStefano, Greg Giraldo, who is one of the greatest comics I've ever known. I miss him.
Right. I'm glad you brought him up. You can't forget about Greg. He was a beast.
Yeah, Greg was a beast. You know, when Vic Henley died this week, God rest his soul, I loved Vic Henley. I didn't know him as well as other people, but every time I was around him, he made me feel like he was my big brother. He always looked out for me. He made every show I was at feel better, and he treated me better than I deserved for my station in the business. And Greg Giraldo, it struck me, I felt the same about Vic passing as I did about Greg, because Greg did the same things. Greg, he was everybody's big brother.
Yeah, no, it's so funny. I have the same feelings towards Greg. I didn't know Vic Henley. I came across Greg more often. Vic Henley, I knew he was a nice guy, but definitely I understand what you mean when you say when someone just makes you feel comfortable and they're just cool motherfuckers, man. It's like their wave, their energy, their vibe. It's just like, oh, there's no pretentious bullshit. It's just cool.
When you do comedy, especially when you're new, there's just so much bullshit you're putting up with, right? And then there's guys like Vic Henley who were an oasis in that, who immediately treated you like you mattered.
Right.
Great gift he gave me. God bless him and God rest him. I'm not going to be able to say any words that really do him justice.
Yeah. He was beloved. I mean, the response after his passing was very like. It was
loved
sweet.
Because he was loved. He gave that away. I'll tell you a crazy story about him. I had a friend who got married in Minnesota, right? Mm-hmm. All my boys from Brooklyn go out to Minnesota. I'm the best man at the wedding. I get out there and I go, yo, where's the weed? They go, we got no weed. And I go, why didn't you tell me? And they go, well, we were afraid you would bring it on the plane, right? So I was like, I'm in Minnesota and I'm like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to get us weed, right? So I go to the bar and they're all drinking and my friend's future wife says, hey, that guy is staring at you. So I go, no, you're a beautiful woman. I'm sure he's staring at you. She goes, no, I know the difference. He's staring at you. So I look, and I'm in, not even in Minneapolis, like I'm in a suburb of Minnesota. And I look over and I go, well, that guy's either gay or it's my friend Vic Henley. I go over, it's fucking Vic. He's doing a corporate gig. And he's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, what am I doing here? What are you doing here? You know, I say to him, look, I got no weed. I'm the best man at this wedding. And he's like, how many of there are you? And I was like, 6. He's like, come on. We all went up to his room. He smoked us out. He opened up his mini bar. It was like he was my big brother yet again, right? He hooked us all up, was a gentleman on the way out the door, tried to give him some money. He wouldn't have it. And
I had no idea Vic Henley smoked.
Well, I don't think I'm talking out of school.
Yeah, no, man. Like when I look at a Vic Henley, he seemed like such a not that everyone smokes, but I picture him like a wine guy, like a wine connoisseur.
He was more of a drinker, but he had a one-hitter, little dugout with really good weed in it. He had that white man weed.
Right. Yeah, they pull out the one hitter and you're good.
Yeah. Hey, got my dugout.
Damn. So yeah, I mean, and I said this before, like guys like that, they're so important, and they also like make you appreciate the people you meet along the way, because there's enough dirtbags in this industry who are just nasty motherfuckers. Right?
It makes me think all the time, all the wrong people are winning. He was also a great comic. Great, not good, great.
Yeah. So was he also working? Did you say he was working at the Boston Comedy Club during those times too?
Yeah,
early.
He was around New York for the entire time I was a comic. He preceded me for many years. Yeah.
Now during that time, so we're talking about like the early 2000s. Were you just doing stand up, or did you have like another a means of income? Were you did you run your own bar? I feel like you told me that before. Or
I did. I owned a topless bar from before I got into stand up comedy. Then when I got into stand up comedy, I was running the Amsterdam Billiard Club for a while on the Upper West Side. It no longer exists. Amsterdam is now down on the Lower East Side there. Really great pool hall. And then after that, what else did I do? I had
you also managed a comedy club or owned a comedy club.
I did. I owned a piece of Pip's Comedy Club.
So where the fuck did you get your managerial skills from? How do you you just own a bunch of property like this Monopoly or something?
When I was young, I got into the topless bar business because I was into promoting nightclubs, and I gave a business card to the right guy and got lucky. Wow. I ended up just talking to the right guy long enough that he took a chance on me and my business partner and let us buy into his chain. Bless you. And let us buy into his chain of 6 topless bars. Then my father passed away, and I just always wanted to be a comic. I remember the moment. David Brenner was doing jokes on The Tonight Show, and I was a small kid, 5, 6 maybe, and I went up and punched my father and said, "Is that a job?" And he went, "What?" And I said, "The guy on TV. Is what he's doing, is that a job?" And he went, "Yeah." And I went, "I could do that job." And my father went, "Yeah, I know." And went back to watching David Brenner, and that was it. So I now have this topless bar. I've been drinking heavily for years. I have to stop drinking, and I get out of the business, and I always wanted to be a comic. I sold my bar. I came back to Brooklyn, and then I worked at the Amsterdam Billiard Club for a while. I used to book talent at the Red Room Bar and Grill at the Gershwin Hotel. I've had a bunch of cool jobs. I owned a piece of Pip's for a little while. I lived inside of Pip's Comedy Club. A lot of people don't realize there was an apartment inside of Pip's where George Schultz used to live, God rest him.
Right.
He was a guy who was David Brenner's mentor, ironically, and as well a big part of Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh, wow. Now, where was Pip's located again?
Emmons Avenue, the absolute last end of the earth in Sheepshead Bay. It's parallel to Coney Island.
Wow. So you had it was like a Brooklyn club, probably the only Brooklyn, New York, Brooklyn comedy club at the time.
It was. It wasn't only the Brooklyn Comedy Club. It was the most Brooklyn comedy club. They used to call it the White Apollo, and they were fucking savages. They'd give you about 15 seconds, and if they didn't like you, the entire room would just check out and talk like you weren't in the room. And then you'd be like, hey, what's wrong with these people? And they'd be like, what's wrong with these people? They're right. You suck. Get the fuck out. They were savages. Yeah.
So at that time, was it difficult? Because you were probably getting up on these shows. So you were like working the club.
No, it was fucking hard to get on stage everywhere. I barked for stage time at the Boston Comedy Club. I did Bringers. This is, I start in 97.
Yeah.
So from 97 till 2003, it's a uphill battle to get stage time.
Yeah.
And it was also harder. There were less shows and people were meaner about it. And they wanted you to suffer. Like Patrice and Voss and Todd Lynn would come up and just pick on you while you were begging strangers to go to a show they didn't want to talk to you about. But there was also something to that, like being hazed in a fraternity.
Right.
When I saw any of those guys, even though Patrice and I never really got along, he always treated me well and I always treated him well. We just never vibed.
Right. Yeah, there was that definitely that element of like hazing back in the day, which you don't see as much now.
No.
Because people could create their own avenue in different ways and they kind of like protect it in their little cliques and shit like that.
They stopped all forms of bullying just a little late for me.
Have you ever fought a comic? You ever got into a fist fight with a comic? And you don't have to say the name. I'm just interested because there's been many comics I felt like punching in the face. I never did it.
I have not had a fist fight. I did take a swing at a couple of people.
And just missed?
No. I hit them. They didn't hit me back.
Oh, nice.
Well, actually, one I punched. He didn't fight back. That's just like not an important comic and not an important fight. Yeah. And then the other guy ended up being somebody who was very successful, and he was being very rude to me, and I threw a full can of soda at his head.
Oh, nice.
And I missed him by this much, and I'm glad I did. I want one more foot in entertainment and one more foot out of the schoolyard. But if I'm going to be honest, he just, it's a long time ago, and he was being very rude, and it's the way I reacted. I don't necessarily regret it, but I wouldn't want to repeat it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he needs to. I need to talk about this. And he's gone, so he passed away. But the one that I seen, that a guy who was like mean to motherfuckers, was Todd Lynn. That dude was brutal, bro. He used to come with his little arm. He had like this little fucked up arm.
Yo,
and if he didn't like you, bro, he would go in. And it was always like, I felt like it was specific to certain other black comics that he felt just weren't on his energy level. Like if he felt like
he had a caste system in his mind.
Yes. It was almost like, and it was an interesting thing because as a comic, I thought he was really good, but I was like, damn, how does this guy put so much energy into being mean to people? Like that's a lot of energy.
He really did. I knew Todd better than the average person. I used to wait tables in a place called Cafe Shane on Washington Avenue in Brooklyn. It was an all-black neighborhood at the time, and he used to eat there, and his homeboy owned the restaurant who gave me the job. So I kind of half-assed knew Todd before that from comedy. Then when I worked there, we kind of had that bond where I saw him outside of that bullshit. So he was always better to me than other people. But I saw him say shit to people that I couldn't fucking believe. I said the worst thing ever to Todd Lynn. He used to just would come up and say savage, awful things to you to hurt your feelings. And he said something to me about how white I was, right? He was fucking with me. He's like, you so goddamn white. And I turned around and said, you're so fucking black, your arm is a chicken wing. And for a second, he got all pissed, and then he laughed so fucking hard. He loved that. He was like, fuck you, Joe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is fucking funny.
He treated me better than he treated other people, but I saw him say things to people that like for 5 fucking minutes after he was gone, I was angry. I was like, why would you do that to a person?
Yeah, it wouldn't even be
people and be like, look, whoever told you should do this, they were wrong. If your mother tells you you're good at this, she's lying because she's your mother. This ain't for you. There's people who spent 5 years of their life, 6 years of their life chasing a craft. He would unsolicited stop them on the street, walking from one club to another, and be like, hey, give up on your dreams.
Yeah. He would say some wild shit.
Yeah.
And like as we share stories about it, like they just keep on popping up. I remember being at a show and this newer comic went up to him and like, can you say this about me? Which is annoying because like it's like a new talent show or some shit. I mean, it's not annoying. I mean, I guess it's the job of the host to give the credit. And he said, I ain't saying none of that shit. What's your name? They were like, and they just like he got the name fucked up. And he didn't give a fuck, man. He didn't care.
But yo, used to just say horrible shit, and they wanted. Like I remember saying to Voss, I was hosting, saying, "What do you want me to say?" He's like, "Nothing. Get me a Coke." I was
like, That's funny, man. So like when you were working, what was the nickname for the strip club? Did you call it a titty business? What was it?
Well.
Is that a hard place to work? Was your mother and your sisters, were they annoyed by that?
Well, it was in Virginia. My sisters never came to visit, surprisingly. My mother and father came
Who knows?
to visit.
Maybe you had like, how many sisters you have?
5.
Yeah, I knew you had a lot of sisters. Like one of them could have been on the other side, you know what I'm saying? With the fade and the ponytail. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, I am the calmest person in my family. My cousins are fucking savages. I would be shot. I'm the voice of reason.
And my nickname for you is Pop Off.
Yo, hold up. I want to go back for 1 second because this is interesting.
My bad.
No, you're good. My mom and my dad did come to visit me when I had the bar, right?
Okay.
And I took them to see the bar, but I took them on a Sunday when it was closed. I didn't want to. So my mother came in and she was a farm girl from Ireland and she walked through and didn't say anything. She goes out to the car and my father looks around. He's like, And my father was a very enlightened, educated man. He had gone back to school for his master's in social work, and he was a therapist. But, as there's an old saying, Mom wouldn't like her, but Dad would approve.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way it broke down on that. And I'm going to have to sit down and write a screenplay about those 5 years. Everything happened. Everything you're thinking and everything you're not.
Yeah. No, I'm intrigued by it because every time I bump into you, I feel like I get a little slice of it, and I'm always captivated. And that's the reason why I wanted you on the show, because I'm like, Joe, you're one of those motherfuckers that I can talk to, and I'm at awe at some of your stories. First of all, you're one of the best storytellers I fucking know. So it's awesome to hear these little, when you sprinkle these little stories during a conversation or during a time we're hanging out or something. I mean, if you could fucking put that shit together in a script or a book, I'm the first one, baby. I'm setting up the table at Barnes and Noble for you. I'm like, move. That's my man right there. Step aside.
I love you, Sergio.
Yeah,
that
for real.
So nice.
I'm gonna get the plastic fold-up table. Hold up. Joe, you all right?
Yo, I'm gonna make you my head of security when this happens.
Yeah.
Bro.
I'm gonna have the Bluetooth. I'm gonna have razor bumps in the back of my head.
You could do that character like you do the construction worker. You could have that.
Yeah.
You could do all that dickhead shit they do. Hold on, I'm looking at him right now. You talking to your sleeve?
Yeah, I'm gonna have the Dante Nero offset, the belly and the butt. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have that shit going on. The upper body is my legs are amazed that they can support the upper body movement.
Yo, you're gonna look like 2 different superheroes put together.
I'm gonna look like a G.I. Joe that was fixed with another, like a transformer or some shit. This fucking some improvised toy makeup or something. But I'm gonna be there for you, and I'm gonna do a lot of chest punch, like whoa. People's chest. You know why? I'm not that type of person, but I have a feeling you would appreciate that.
I would. Yo, that's very nice. I don't want to ignore this. You said some very nice things about me. Thank you, bro. And I think I'm gonna start just like recording stories now during the quarantine and putting them out. Like I
think that's and it's just a matter of doing it, man. It's just a matter of like doing it and then just having it and then piecing it together. And also I think getting help, finding someone who could kind of direct it, right? It's like, because you got the stories, but who the fuck can like organize it? Like I say that to remind myself, anytime I have like all these different ideas, like who can like put it together? Because I think that's the hardest part. We got the stories, but how the fuck do you put this shit together, cut off the fat, and organize? Because we got the stories.
There's a science to it, right? Writing a screenplay is half science and half art. Part of it is hitting exactly the plot points that you have to exactly where. It's all structure, brass tacks. You fuck one thing up, they consider you an amateur, right? So really, I think the answer to that is you need somebody who's already a craftsman in the science of it. Right. And, you know, I've worked throughout the years with a lot of different people who are exactly that, you know, with varying degrees of success. But I haven't really found anybody who has vibed with my stories so much that they've been inspired to take that science and really get it to the next level. Hopefully that'll happen. But I think that just recording these stories and doing them is the first step. Right? Because you're hearing them and then you're saying, why isn't somebody doing something with this? It just takes the person who can to hear it.
Yeah. And you know, what's interesting is like, once you record it, like I think it could be done in the way where, let's say you're talking to like me or whatever, just putting that shit on, like on your phone and just telling the story. And where the fuck I laugh and spit you with my laugh, you're like, okay, that's the punch. Like I can keep that, you know what I'm saying? You know, like I think that because it's like finding the rhythm of it. I sometimes feel like you overtell like a joke or a story. It kind of loses rhythm, and then it's like it doesn't have that meat or like beat a little bit. Some people are naturally good at finding the beat all the time with a story.
You got that right.
Right?
That is a gift.
I feel like that shit is like.
I feel like you do that well. I quoted your 5 minutes about the missing fingers with the cigarettes, and then going into the construction worker, and then coming back around at the funeral. I quoted that yesterday. You have good instincts in this department. You're already doing that well. It's just a matter of taking that skill set and taking your mind off and allowing yourself to do the work you already do. Right here, this is where it all comes from, and this is where it all stops. Right?
No, it's fine. It's interesting to say that.
That's some DBS right there. That's some dirtbag shit.
It is. And you know what? Self-sabotaging? Is that DBS?
Oh, yeah, that dirtbag sabotage.
Yo, dogs, like, yeah, it really is. I mean, it really is. Well, I think I'm coming to a place, honestly, in my life, Joey, and I'm 40 years old, and I think I finally got to a place where it's like, I'm not going to care as much. I'm just going to fucking pull the trigger on some of this shit. Like, for example, with like the podcast, I could have overthought this for years, but when I start to feel it, I just did it rather than sitting on it for too long. And that's the thing, like we could spend, time goes by fast. There's a lot of time that could be wasted thinking, fucking overanalyzing, and meanwhile, it's just like shit is passing through.
No doubt.
And it's so whack. It's like, yo, and as I get older, I realize how fast all this shit goes. And I think partly that's due to also having a kid. Like I physically see her grow up and emotionally evolve, and I'm like, yo, this shit happens fast. It all happens so very fast. So it's like my attitude now is a little different. It's like if I want to do something, I just do it, and I don't worry about making mistakes and shit. Just fucking do it and enjoy doing it.
Well, first of all, I hope to get to be 40 years old.
Yeah, you look great, bro, for a 75-year-old.
Yo, what it is I've been getting an infusion of Barry Rib's blood every 3 weeks. Listen, as far as comedy goes, if you think, right, comedy is better when you're doing it like dancing than when you're trying to play chess. If you just keep changing what you're doing to the beat of the music, that's more valuable than trying to sit and think of the perfect move.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's being reactive as much as it is being inventive. Now, these are lofty things for me to say. I'm fucking nobody. I've had some limited success in this business. But, that's sometimes you can learn more from people who didn't make all the right moves.
Listen,
and I didn't.
All this shit that we're talking is irrelevant because we're never going to go back on stage because of the China virus.
Well, I think the best thing to do.
Trump calls it the China virus is fucking amazing. I don't agree with it, but it's hilarious.
I think it's important to call it COVID-19. And the reason is because it's dated 2019. That's why they call it COVID-19. And I think it's important to remember that Trump knew about this in 2019 and did nothing for the first 2 months of 2020.
Yeah, he was like, it's a hoax, folks. It's a hoax. It's a Democratic hoax.
On top of gutting the infrastructure that takes care of bio-warfare and worldwide pandemics. Yes.
Yo, he's a supreme dirtbag, but he's entertaining. I
don't find it entertaining. I guess when you're 75 like me, you're not going to live through many more presidents.
Yeah, you went on the screen like this.
I'm rocking back and forth here. I'm starting to get, I want to be back in the womb. I want to be back in the womb. Yeah, man, look, it's a giant
How you feeling, though? Like,
hold up. Yeah. This is important. It's a giant shitburger, but in 1918, the flu passed. There were 3 real phases of it, but in a few months, we're all going to get back out. We'll be out of the house. I don't think anybody's going to shake hands and hug like we did before. I think that'll be years before that goes back to being that way. I'm sorry, your roommate don't like my story?
Great. Sorry. That's just my pit bull protecting. Curry, go home. And when I say go home, she goes to her kennel. My bad.
Nah, the bottom line is we'll get out of the house and this will pass, but it will feel like an eternity. Yeah, and we will get back to work. Shit will go back to the way it was, but it'll take, 8-10 months is my guess till life really feels like life again. Like there'll be limited steps.
I agree. And I don't think people are giving each other the pound anymore. We're not going to go. We're going to be doing the elbow.
Yo,
give me 1 second. I'm sorry.
No, you're all right. Yo, I like that mural.
Oh, thanks, man. I got a lot of compliments from it. I got this mural tattooed on my back. It's a big piece. A guy named Dino from Sunset is doing it for me.
Oh, yeah?
He's only charging $200.
Where in Sunset?
I'm kidding. I'm not getting
Oh, all right.
Yo, I look like the type. You're like, yeah, you look like the type that would get that mural tattooed.
No, I figured you had. I didn't think you'd get that put on you, but I figured you might have a tattoo guy in Sunset.
No. And honestly, I'm making fun of the fact that that I would get that, but I would get that. I wouldn't mind getting that. I like big pieces, you know what I'm saying? But I don't have the money. It would be really irresponsible to be out of work and then me shopping for a tattooist to come to my apartment to give me the biggest piece I've ever gotten.
I pretty much have only gotten tattoos when I shouldn't.
Yeah, why is that?
Because it's kind of like shaving your head when you lose control. It's an act of rebellion that makes you feel kind of badass and back in control, I think, psychologically.
That's a very interesting point.
I'm a fucking mook.
Now, for listeners who don't know, what's a mook?
A mook is the type of guy who names his newborn baby daughter after his ex-girlfriend so that his tattoo will make sense again.
So you're a dirtbag.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is an appropriate fit for you.
It's a slight variation on dirtbag.
Yeah. Yeah. It's absolutely a slight variation on it. And the dirt bag is flexible. We could piece it in a bunch of different ways. But what the fuck was I gonna say? Yo, when it comes to tattoos, this is the point I wanted to make. This motherfuckers, the first time I realized that people get tattoos when they went through some bullshit and they're just trying to show empowerment is every one of my favorite boxers has gotten a tattoo after they got their ass kicked. Miguel Cotto, the Puerto Rican champ, serious face, right? He didn't have the charisma of Tito Trinidad, but he had the island, the Puerto Ricans behind him. And man, I like the fact that he was a clean slate, like it was like a classic fighter, like a throwback, you know? He was a boxer puncher. He go to the head and body. He got cut. He didn't care. He was still fighting. He was vulnerable, which made it exciting. I like to see a fighter who's vulnerable, who's not too careful, right? This motherfucker gets beat, and then he comes with a tattoo the next fight. And I hated that fucking tattoo because it was like a tribal around his nipple. He got the tribal.
Always a bad move.
A fucking around his nipple, on his shoulder to his thigh. That shit went down to his thigh.
I got one piece on my chest, like a pie wedge around my nipple that needs to be tattooed. I've been hiding from that shit for years.
Wait, what is it? It's a pie wedge? What?
See this?
Oh, it just needs to be filled in.
Yeah. That shit hurts like a motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. Anything on the torso, stomach, yeah, anything this area hurts.
Right here.
But that's good work, Bob.
It's all right.
Yeah. And you got a piece on your back too, right?
No, nothing on my back. I got this. This goes down halfway on both arms, and then I got a little something on my leg from my father when he passed.
Okay, yeah. I got a few. I wish I could show you my first one ever. Look at this somber clown under this hat.
Yo, it looks like Trump, bro.
It does look like Trump. But under this hat, there was a lion head.
Oh, where?
And I got one, and you can still see like the mane, a little bit of the mane. I got the lion head when I was like 15 years old. Whack, bro. It looked like a cartoon lion head. And it was like the size of my thumb. I started outgrowing it, and it basically had like a bubble coming out his mouth that said purr. Like and then it started shifting because I was growing, and it was like a little fucking thumb lion head right here.
Bro, I have a worse story. You have the right dirtbag on the Dirtbag podcast. When I my first chest tattoo, right? I was still drinking. I got hammered at the tattoo parlor, and I decided I was getting this American eagle with a flag. It was like this big patriotic tattoo, right?
What year was it? Was it like after 9/11?
Huh? No, it was before 9/11.
Okay, because I feel like everyone got super patriotic after 9/11.
That is true, but this is way before, right? Okay. So I keep drinking whiskey, and I wake up the next morning, and I have a tattoo of Wile E. Coyote choking the Roadrunner on my chest. And I'm drunk. I'm still drunk. I'm hungover, and I'm looking in a mirror trying to figure out the backward image of what I have on my chest. And then I like fucking figure it out, and it's done poorly because I was so hammered. I like moved. I was a pain in the ass. I was running my mouth. So then I had to go get that covered up, and I have a giant guardian angel on my chest over Wile E. Coyote strangling the Roadrunner.
Yeah. It's just like cover up. You got to cover those shits up, and it's like you know, no one cares either. Like, if you have a tattoo that you hate, no one cares about your tattoo. Like, you hate it, but no one fucking cares, man. You know.
You kidding me? That shit kept me up at night, bro.
I know, man. Like, you know, you get a tattoo, you start touching it, you're like, oh, fuck, oh.
Yo, and I had 5 sisters. As you can imagine, they weren't kind.
Yeah. No, you know, siblings, sisters will let you have it. I once got my nose pierced at St. Mark's, and they fucked up. Some Asian guy did it for me, and he did it right in the tip. I looked like I had a gold It looked like I had a booger, like one of those sticky boogers you can't get off your finger, right on the tip. And when I tell you, I walked into my apartment, it was like 1996. I was probably trying to be like Tupac or something, right? I was heavily influenced by Tupac. And my sister laughed so fucking hard that I thought she was gonna die. Like the vein was popping out. She and she just kept on laughing. And like, it was so bad. She laughed for like 20 minutes straight, red face, that she had to walk out the room. And then I kept on like looking at myself in the mirror, trying to readjust my hat. Like, how is this nose ring gonna look good like this? Like, like you're trying to figure that shit out. We make some bad choices. Do you know who made a bad choice? Do you know the rapper, The Game?
Yes.
You heard of The Game? Of course you do.
How old do you think I am? I'm not really 75.
No, I mean, he's just not that, like, you definitely know him. I just figure, like, he's not really popping right now. Maybe, he's not, but you know him.
Yeah, but I'm an old head. I know who The Game is, yeah.
Yeah, you know who The Game is. He got a tattoo in memory of Kobe Bryant. Joey, you know where he got this tattoo?
On his face?
On his fucking face. And he got, like, the infinity sign right here. And then he got like the number 8 or just like right there, bro. I'm like, who the fuck does that, yo?
Everybody who is kind of famous for millennials is tattooing their face right now.
Yeah, dogs. It's weird because I see the wave of how it went. See, when me and you were younger, every motherfucking Bensonhurst or Howard B had like the tribal shit, right? Like all the Italians, right? And every Puerto Rican had a Jesus Christ printed on their calf muscle, right? Jesus Christ looking at them like, yo.
A lot of the Italians got the Christ head tattoo here too.
Oh yeah, but it was like one piece, It was hidden. The Panthers ripping the skin.
Yes. There was classic flash art shit like that on the wall. I used to, when I would perform at Pips, I used to say, if you have a Christ head tattoo, when you go to heaven, Jesus will have a Vinny head tattoo. He'll have your face. Hey.
But, and like these tattoos, they were obviously they represented the times or whatever, what was popular. But like when you do it to your face, there's no coming back from that. And I know this sounds old of me, but it's like, and like it's just crazy. It's like I'm just gonna mark like the face.
Well,
immediately, every time I see someone with a face tattoo, I go like this. Right? I'm like, it's like repulsive. It's almost like I want to be as far away from that person as possible. Most of the time, some people could wear a face tat. You have to wear a face tat like a motherfucker wears a chinchilla like they're wearing a T-shirt. You have to wear a face tat like a T-shirt, like you're wearing a T-shirt like it's a chinchilla, you know? But, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to have that flavor to it, and very few people have that vibe, that swagger, if I may.
I heard somebody say that, I think it was Bill Burr was talking about when he was a kid, if there was a guy with a tattoo, it was because he was in the Marines or, that he was a tough motherfucker. That guy would beat the shit out of you, the guy with the tattoo.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, everybody got tattooed.
Yeah.
And now the face was kind of the last frontier.
Yeah.
What they always say, what are you going to do when you get old? You got all these tattoos on your face? Post Malone got the perfect face tattoos for when you get old. They say, stay away, always tired. This is what I'm going to do. It's perfect.
But you know what the interesting thing about Post Malone, and in spite of all those tattoos, I can still like listen and look at him because he seems like a very charismatic, warm, nice person. Does that make sense?
Yes, he does.
Right? And kind of that energy overpowers what's written on his face. Like sometimes
I always thought that was a great contradiction that it says stay away because he seems like the nicest celebrity out there.
Exactly. I don't know one song of his, but I know that like anytime I hear him in an interview.
I know a couple, but just from listening to the radio in the car.
Yeah. Do you keep in contact? I'm kind of stuck on that titty bar shit.
That's okay.
It was just, it's like so 90s, just like topless. We don't do bottoms. You got to keep, hey, hon, you got to keep the drawers on. Don't take off the drawers. Was it like that? Did you have to tell girls, hey, keep the drawers on? Like, I picture you with a big collar shirt, like walking around with a dark big collar.
No. See, you're seeing the place that's in your head from watching Goodfellas.
Not really. I'm picturing
I
old school.
ran a redneck topless bar on a roadside in Chesapeake, Virginia.
Yeah.
They were all fucking rednecks, and then I was running the place. It was very, very weird.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like that. It was very laid back. A lot of shipyard workers, a lot of guys who were construction workers. It was a rougher place than it was like a gentleman's club.
Got it.
And the girls, I have to say, I was a fucking maniac about keeping them in line. I was rude about it. I was insensitive about it. But the truth was that I had gambled not just everything I had, but everything I would have for years on this one business. So I became a lunatic about it.
Yeah. Were you drinking a lot? Were you drinking a lot owning that club? I feel like that lends itself to that sort of like vibe. Was a lot of drugs?
It did. I did drink a lot at that point, but not. I was in that business for 5 years. The first 3 I didn't, and then the last 2 I really started to hit the bottle.
Yeah. And what was the point where you're like, I gotta fucking stop drinking? Where did it feel like? Do you remember like the day?
Yes, was it like I kept waking up in jail.
You were in jail?
I kept waking up in jail. I would get drunk in Virginia and wake up in jail. Yes.
In Virginia jails, I don't know why that sounds worse than a New York jail.
Well, whenever you have this accent, any place where other people don't, it's not good.
Was it long times locked up, or they were all short?
No, never. Overnight, 2 days at the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't doing anything bad. I was just drunk, and then they didn't like me when they caught me. So they put me in jail for like drunk in public or, just dumb shit over and over, a lot of it.
Yeah. Blackout drunk, or you were coherent? Did you know what was going on, or you were like...
Both.
I never got blacked out drunk.
Oh, well, you haven't lived.
Well, I'll tell you... I never, my daughter's in the other room. This is dirtbag shit. I never got blacked out drunk because I was an adult and I did cocaine to wake me up. Okay?
Well, thankfully, I stayed away from that when I was down there. I'd still be locked up.
Yeah.
They want to put me under the jail out there. That was a part of it. Like, I was in my 20s. I had a beautiful car. I had money in my pocket.
You were young, man.
Huh?
You were young.
Yes. And I also, I was driving around with like hot women in a hot car, and then there are cops making $20,000 a year. No wonder they wanted to pick on me.
Yeah.
And I was a jerk.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. You had a real slick mouth about you.
I did. I wasn't my best self.
You used to say some shit that lick your bottom lip like this. The cops will pull you over. Yo, you're the type of motherfucker. The cops will pull you over, then you light up a cigarette.
Yo, anytime you light a cigarette when you're pulled over, it's because you think they're going to take you or might find what you have. Never smoke.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's one thing about you, Joe. You're like a street smart motherfucker. Like, you know all the in and out. Yo, I remember it wasn't the other day. It was like last year. I'm hanging out with your ass, and you pickpocketed me. You took my cell phone, which, by the way, my cell phone is this big. And you did that shit seamlessly in front of another comic, Harris Stanton, and you guys were just smoking and laughing at me. No, I don't think you were smoking. I think Harris was smoking. And just laughing at me. I was like, how the fuck did you do that? And I'm like, yo, Joey got some real street skills. Like, you used to probably pull purses back in the days.
Never. No. I never took anything from anybody, right? And
you don't look like a personal crime person. You look like you don't look like a personal crime person. Like,
I wasn't. The worst thing I did, and this was when I was a kid, I used to steal car radios. And that was taking from little people, right?
Yeah.
That was taking from the average guy. And that, obviously a lot of the things I did as a hoodlum, I look back on now.
Hoodlum?
I was a hoodlum. I was a young kid. And I look back on them now, and I don't like the idea, and I wouldn't like somebody else doing it, right? But it was part of being stupid and part of being a kid, and I did it. I just don't lie about it. I think that a lot of people have these backgrounds where they were wild as kids, or they broke the law, or there was a period in your life where you sold weed, or you did this, you did that. I'm not ashamed of it.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad about having made mistakes, and I like who I am. Therefore, I don't feel the need to make my shit look better for you.
Right. Oh, I love that, man. It just fucking normalizes everything. And that's the thing. No one's exempt. Everyone has a little bit of dirtbag in them. Everyone has done some dirtbag shit. Everyone. No one's exempt.
That's true. Yes.
No one's exempt.
I think that's what we learned today.
Yeah, and it's interesting because my mother is a big fan of this podcast. She listens to my shit, and I sometimes I share some things. And I'm just like, but I think what happens is she's just like, I think she's reminded like, oh yeah, I did some shady shit too, and I know like some shady shit that my mama did. So if she ever tries to confront me, I'll be like, Mama, here you go. But it's interesting that my mother can listen to some of my dirtbag shit and be totally accepting. She doesn't even bring it up. And I'm just like, Mom, she's my biggest fan. That's awesome.
She is your biggest fan. And give your mom a little credit. She got to be this age
High five to Evelyn, my mama.
Yeah, Evelyn, right? She raised you, bro. And she knows you're a grown man with a 3-dimensional life. This smart woman. God bless her. Hi, Evelyn.
I'm also an animal hoarder. Did you know that? I got like 6 snakes in the house, 2 cats, and a pit bull. Didn't you, I remember you told me a story about a lady who was very similar to me. You need to tell me that story. Every time I see you, I need to hear that story.
It's too much. It's too much.
Is it too much? Come on.
It's too much.
You're not going to tell me about...
Come on, man. It's too much.
See, you know what happened? I know what the fuck happened. I got a Joey Gay on the mic who's involved with a girl, and he's scared that his girl's going to listen to this episode.
No, I'm not scared. So
I got a Joey Gay on the mic who has
story.
His girlfriend 6 feet
I'll
away.
just lay it out for you. It's okay. I can't really talk all that shit about how I like who I am and I don't want to hide and then be like, I'm not telling you.
Yeah, how dare you renege on that shit? What a dirtbag move.
Well, here it is. So I was hosting a show at, I can't name the venue because I don't want to name the girl. But it is a venue outside of comedy, and it's a big and respected venue. And it was a long time ago, and Michael Moore was on the show, and there were a lot of people there. And at the time, I was on a radio program on WBAI, and me and the guy from that radio program were hosting. So it's packed. It's a big night. And this girl who is managing, this woman, I should say, this woman who's managing the venue is beautiful. And we hit it off immediately. And I would be an absolute liar if I didn't start here. She had one of the nicest asses I have ever seen on a woman. I mean, I owned a topless bar for 5 years. I was on reality television after that. I own nightclubs. I have not lived a sheltered life. This was a remarkable ass.
What was her background? So, she was Latina, black, white?
She was Italian from the Bronx.
Okay.
So she like comes up, we're flirting a little bit. She comes up, she's got 2 shots. She's like, will you do one with me? And I was like, I would love to, but I can't. I give her my little speech. I don't drink, but I don't mind if you do. She does both shots. And then she says to me, are you going to go to the after party? And I said, I'm going to go wherever you go when this is over, right? So she's
smooth, Joey Gay, smooth.
Right? So we end up at the Yippee Cafe, which is now Overthrow Boxing, where you box out.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
That is where the after party is. And I'm there with her, and she starts telling me I love animals, right? And I'm like, oh, no, you ain't going to pull this shit on me. I love animals. And she's like, no, I don't think you understand. I'm like, I don't think you understand. I like grab a friend. I'm like, she's telling me she likes animals more than me. Now, I am a fucking idiot. I stop everybody with their dog. I want to pet their dog. I want to talk to them about them. All my friends know this. They're probably at this point a little fucking annoyed with it. But my friend's like, oh, no, this guy's a fucking idiot. He goes, so he gives the best answer. And now She's smiling at me. I'm smiling at her. It's going to happen, and I know it. So she says, look, I'm going to go home tonight. I live all the way up on Arthur Avenue. You want to come with me? That's cool. But we kind of need a cab, and it's like $60. And I'm like, no problem. Absolutely. That's great. So,
yeah, $60 for a cab never feels good unless you're getting buns.
Oh, this ass, I can still see it. It's an amazing ass. And
it's one of those asses, like this probably took place a long time ago, but images of that ass pops up sporadically throughout the week or the month. Isn't that crazy how primal we are? We're like, ooh, thinking about that.
I do see flashes of it when I'm talking about it, but yeah. So now she says, okay, the cab is here, right? And, but before that happened, she says, she gives me another speech. You don't understand. I have a lot of animals. I have a lot of animals. And I'm like, she goes, you're going to think I'm crazy. And I go, I'm not going to think you're crazy. So the cab comes and we go outside and the cab is a brand new Range Rover. The driver is like this giant Italian guy from Italy wearing the nicest leather jacket I've ever seen. And I get in and I'm immediately like, what the fuck is going on? This isn't a cab. Who the fuck is this guy? I start thinking in my New York head, they're going to try to rob me. What the fuck is this? And then he stops to get gas and she says, look, I party. Do you party? And she's talking about coke. And I'm like, no, I don't, but I don't care if you do. And now it all makes sense. I'm like, all right, right?
Yeah. Oh, the story's so exciting. Now I got to take a shit. All this coke talk.
So I give her $60. She buys coke from the driver. We're driving to the Bronx, and he's being very polite. He's making an effort to include me in the conversation and, like, go out of his way to be like, this is your girl. I see that.
Okay.
So we get to Arthur Avenue. We get to her apartment. I'm getting out, and the guy shakes my hand, and this is such a dude move. As he's shaking my hand, he goes, like, I've seen this movie. You're about to see this movie. Yeah. Like, oh, fuck. All right, so he takes off. Now she stops on the stairs again. Listen, I have a lot of animals. I don't want you. I go, listen to me. Enough of you fucking running your mouth about this. I'm not going to think you're crazy. Let's go inside. She opens the door. I immediately think she's crazy. I immediately think she's nuts. There is a turtle. I have to lean back. There is a turtle the size of a fucking manhole cover.
Oh, my God.
A manhole cover walking around knocking things over. There are 70 plastic bins with snakes and fucking gerbils. There's rats. There's mice. There's fish, there's birds, there's a whole fucking ecosystem.
And that's the thing, when you have that many animals, you gotta like stack them up in these plastic bins to conserve space and stuff.
Bro, I've never seen anything like it in my life. She had
did it smell like a zoo?
It stunk. It stunk. And again, this is a remarkable ass. At this point, you think I'd make an excuse and get out. I'm infinite. So I and there's everything. I can't even go on about everything that's there. There are ferrets.
Ferrets are dirtbag creatures.
Bro, she broke off a quarter of a thing of iceberg lettuce and just threw it at this tortoise on the floor.
At like 3 o'clock in the morning.
So now, right, she goes and she does a little cocaine in the bedroom. She comes out, she's got a little robe on, and she looks fucking hot.
Yeah.
And I liked her, too. I liked her.
Yeah,
like, she was crazy, but I liked her. Yeah. So now, after a little coke, she goes, now I have to show you my baby. And I'm like, what? Like, you have a baby here? She goes, no, not a real baby, right? She opens up her bedroom door, and she goes, you can't go in, but just look. So I like peek my head in, and there's a cage against the bed, right? And it's keeping the cage closed, this bed. And it's like this much higher. And all of a sudden, as I look at the cage, I see these little furry hands with nails, like a little prisoner grabbed the bars. And all of a sudden, this thing with fangs, he looks at me and he hisses, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? Bro, she had what is called the Genet, Jenet. It's an African wildcat, like not much bigger than a cat, but that shit looks crazy and prehistoric, and it's got these fangs, and it is skull fucking me immediately. It hates me. And I go, yo, how domesticated is that thing? She goes, oh, not at all. And I go, well, like you could put a hand in there and feed it. She goes, oh no, it'd take my finger right off. And I'm like,
God.
what? She's like, yeah. And he thinks of me as his mother. Like, it's a vicious animal. So I'm like, what the fuck are you doing with this thing? She's like, I love animals. I was like, yeah, well, you got me beat, you know? So now she does some more coke, right? We start to get into it. We start making out. She's drinking a little. There's no way to say this without being crass. So I'll just say it. I have my face in her. She's laid out. And a half a foot to the right, this little fucking thing is pulling the gate and sticking its arm out, trying to get me, and looking at me going, ah! Bro, I have lost a heart on trying to open the condom wrapper. I don't know how I made it through this, but I did. You want to talk about concentration?
Oh, God.
Yeah, and now look, that's 100% true, and it's not a proud story. But this is the fucked up part. I went back. I went back to see her again. We went out like 2 or 3 more times. And then, she was out of her fucking mind. I took her out one night. She started making out with the bartender in front of me. And I was like, well, that concludes the dating portion of our life. And I left.
Yeah, man. That's wild whack when you get like a girl who pulls shit like that. That's like
Yo, she's so beautiful and so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun for like hanging out with someone like is good for like 6 hours. And then it's like, yeah, I gotta, I dated a crazy girl, and I'm not going to go into the details, but I'll save it for another episode because I don't want to keep it too long. But she was crazy, that type of crazy that she would sit on mailboxes with her net stockings and yell at me and be like, you fucking think you are who you are. Fuck you. You think who you are.
The town crier. Yo, sorry about that, son.
It's okay, man. It's okay. Listen, Joey, I really appreciate you coming on, giving us your dope-ass energy, sharing some fantastic stories. You're the man, bro.
Thank you, brother. It was a pleasure. I don't know if I'm doing myself a favor sharing these stories, but what I said earlier was true. I like who I am, and I'm happy to be me. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, and it's fucking beautiful, man. If you're a nigga on any of these stories, you would have been getting like text messages from me during this episode, like, get your shit together while we were recording. I was about to send a text, but you hung in there and you kept the extra DBS. So I appreciate that. You're the man, bro. I got a lot of love for you, Joey. I'm glad you're healthy. You're feeling good. You're one of my absolute favorites, and I mean that. I know that's thrown loosely, but I always enjoy seeing you, vibing with you.
Same here, bro. I love working with you, Sergio.
Yeah.
Great to know you.
How is this time treating you? Like, as far as like what we do, stand-up wise, did you do any Zoom shows or any shit like that?
A couple, yeah. I've done a couple, and I have to say that it's a different thing. It's not stand-up, but I enjoy it. I just did what the new job is now. Like, that's really it. I watch Ben Bailey, and he's amazing performing alone in a room, right. And he's good at it. I don't know if I could do that. Yeah.
How much time was he doing?
He's doing 45 minutes an hour. He's reading comments. He's doing crowd work. He's amazing. Yeah, he always has been. He's a guy like Cash Cab really, in a way, prevented us from seeing a brilliant hour.
Interesting. Yeah, I did it once. a couple of weeks ago. I was dreading it all day long. I was like in a bad mood because I was like, this is gonna fucking suck. I'm gonna see little boxes of like blank faces. And I did it, and I didn't have a terrible time. I think every comic before me had a terrible time, and me witnessing them talking about how uncomfortable they felt gave me the tools necessary to get through it. And one of which was, if everyone's on mute and they're like this, you can't concentrate on that. You got to concentrate on your shit. And every now and then, look to the side and see if you crack a smile, but really catching the rhythm of your own beat. You know, like, that's it. Because you're not really getting a response.
That's a talent that Pips would give you, right? Where you would commit so fucking hard that they would come join you.
Yeah. So, you know, it's an interesting time. The fact of the matter is, you know, guys like you, guys like me, there's a lot of motherfuckers like in this game who are gonna find the good in this. And one of the things that's good about this is that I have you on my show. I don't have to
no doubt
ask you to drop. You know, there's a lot of good. Like there's a lot of things this pause is gonna give us a push in a lot of different directions. So, you know, despite of the dire nature of it all and the obvious, like, you know, negativity that comes with this situation, there's actually going to be a lot of good, and I think a lot of us are going to come back stronger, better, and just with a better perspective on life. So
I think that there's a lot of positive byproducts that, you know, are unexpected that are going to come out of this. And also, like, there's you know what, I was watching American Greed last night. And, you know, it's always the same shit. A guy comes to town, he's too good to be true. He takes everybody's money. And, right. You know, and he is too good to be true. He just, right. But I was watching that and thinking everybody who was fucking around, right? Everybody who was doing some shady shit that required the money to keep coming in. A lot of houses of cards are going to fall. Good and bad, right? Like people who maybe were just juggling money, who were doing something honorable, who had a business, they're fucked. Yeah. And then people who like Ponzi schemes, that's over. Like there's a lot of unintended or rather peripheral consequences, right, that we don't see now. It's one of the things that drives me nuts. I'm trying to see the ripple effect down the road. Yeah. I want to anticipate what this will be. Yeah. But when it comes to stand-up, it's going to be a matter of time, and I don't know if the business will ever fully recover.
Well, but this is the thing, man. I just think, like, as people who are creative artists, we just got to find a different avenue, and that, for you, for me, is like writing that script. You know, putting the collection of stories together. You know, tightening up the podcast, but doing other things that we always want to do, pulling the trigger now, you know? And I think about, just fucking doing it. This is the time to do it. I think this is a sign for a lot of motherfuckers like, yo, I'm taking this from you. Now you're forced to do this other shit that you had on your mind for years and years and years because you deserve to do it and the people deserve to get that from you. You know? Well,
I feel like the screenplay is a long-term strategy, right? But these immediate things that we're doing right now, these podcasts, all this stuff, I think that has a very, without sounding too pretentious, I think it's important. I think that people need this right now, and I think that
doesn't sound pretentious at all. That sounds right.
I think that
Please
is
don't
the
cough
form,
on my podcast.
Right? That is the short-term form. Yeah. This is what it's going to be for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're totally right. And I'm enjoying it. Let's see how long I enjoy it. Before I'm like, I need a fucking stage and real people. I can't do this anymore.
Can't wait to be out with these people again.
You know? Anyway, man, do me a favor. If you're interested in plugging in the Instagram, please do so right now. If you want to
do, bro. I'll hook it up.
What is it?
What? Oh, my Instagram, Super Joey Gay.
Yeah. Super Joey Gay.
Correct.
All right. Super Joey Gay on Instagram. Don't send him any foul shit. Send him positive love.
It's all right. Send me foul shit too. I'm good.
No one's sending foul shit. I'm just talking shit because I'm running out of shit. You're my man, Joey. I'm out. We're gonna sign off. Oh, which, by the way, so this is what I'm gonna start doing after every fucking episode. If you want to donate to the DBS podcast, it's Venmo. It's Sergio Chicone, SERGIO/CHICO1. Because you all know that I don't have the Patreon set up, but I have that Venmo, and that's going to assist with me paying my my producer in the mix, Mike Emoji Face Suarez. Whatever you can give. I don't care if it's $1 here, $5 here, $500 is kind of fly. If you don't got the money, guys, you can mail me frozen rats for my snakes. I'll take anything. I'm easy.
Homie, you were supposed to lick your bottom lip after $500 is kind of fly.
There you go. Rub those hands together like a shady comedy promoter. Oh, you want your money now? You want your money before the show? Nah, I can't do that.
Oh, nah, dog. When you eat a meal, right, you don't get the check right away, do you?
You didn't get that drink ticket? I didn't get that. Anyway, Joey.
Oh, we're going to get started in about 4 hours.
Exactly. I appreciate you, brother. Have a fantastic day.
Same here. This was a joy.
All right. Mike, thank you, brother. We out. That's another episode of DBS Podcast. Peace.
Peace.